Hello, and I'm Professor Lancaster. I'm a Professor of Marketing in the Exeter Business School, where I also am Director of the program for the MBA. The main program, which is what I'm responsible for, is our full-time MBA, which has been running for umpty years. It's really quite a long-established program, does extremely well. We also do a degree apprenticeship program, and in the UK this is a strange beast, part government funded, where students can opt to do a top-up in order to get their MBA. Our positioning is very clear. We are inspiring leaders for a better world. And I think unlike a lot of schools, we actually walk the walk rather than just talk the talk about sustainability, which is evidenced by being ranked #1 by Corporate Knights for Sustainability in the UK and #9 in the world. So I think we're doing something right in that space. Why, in terms of why we do it, is partly because we believe it, but because the university is also very committed in that space. The university strategy for 2030 is all about creating a greener, fairer, healthier world. And the MBA is probably near the forefront of that. We're very lucky that the university has, I think, more than half of the world's top scientists in environmental concerns. And I think, as an example, the publications arising from the last COP out of Exeter academics was more than the sum of all the other universities attending. So we're very lucky to have that depth of resource, that commitment to environmental sustainability. And the MBA program was ranked that way because we were able to demonstrate that on our core modules, more than 55% of hours taught contain something about ESG. And on the electives, it's more than 65% of hours taught are to do with sustainability in some shape or form. I think the answer is both. There's a virtuous circle going on because the university and the program are starting to build this global reputation. Then the sorts of people who apply to us very often have an interest in a future career to do with responsible leadership and sustainability. But equally, there are people who join but for other reasons, because we have reputation in all sorts of areas, very strong in leadership and governance. And those people may not realize the importance of sustainability, but when they leave us, the chances are they're going to leave us with a slightly greener face. We do. It's difficult to equate actual hard numbers there, but certainly, anecdotally, we certainly do, and that's growing. And it's growing partly because the market in sustainability jobs is increasing, and partly because there are more people competent to do those things. It's a tricky area, and it's a bone of contention because a lot of the ranking organizations rank on the basis of salary increments. And until today, a lot of those sustainability jobs don't command high salaries. But our commitment is to sustainability, not to rankings. I think the best way would be with an analogy. Very often in the past, people would think of marketing as being a standalone division within the company, the colouring-in team, or whatever you want to call them, and with little relevance to even things like sales and R&D, and let alone the production and what have you. Whereas now, I think more and more organisations recognise that marketing actually touches everybody in the organisation and all the stakeholders as well. That's going to be the case with sustainability. You can't do production, you can't think about R&D, you can't think about supply chain and logistics and what have you without thinking about sustainability if you have any interest in the future of humanity. So it's really important that people get that holistic view of what sustainability involves. I'd take you back to that positioning idea. We are inspiring leaders for a better world. The MBA, almost ipso facto, has to be a generalist degree. It's not in any functional expertise. It's equipping people to be able to oversee a business in all of its departments, to be able to ask the right questions of people in all those departments, and maybe even to understand the answers. So I think the difference between what we offer is partly to do with our student base. They are post-experience, they've got management experience of at least 3 years and often 10 years. So they're bringing real life experience into the classroom and sharing that across very different disciplines from very different geographies. And it allows people who come out of the program to have a much broader perspective, a much deeper understanding of issues a much more diverse perspective, if you like, on the sorts of things that they're going to be confronting. And I think that's really important for leadership tomorrow. I think it's a vital part of any credible MBA program. We obviously have the academic components, all the various modules, and those are the credit-bearing bits, and that's what gets you a degree. But what's going to make you a better human, a better leader, are all the personal and professional skills that we develop, which are extracurricular, if you like. Whether that be careers advice, whether it be networking skills, negotiation skills. We teach people about well-being, we teach people all sorts of things, or at least offer them the opportunity of exploring those things with guidance. And you can't be a leader, in my view, if you just have functional expertise in one discipline, or maybe two disciplines. You need to have that holistic overview, and you need to understand people. You cannot be a leader unless people follow you. And people aren't going to follow if you're not that sort of person. There is always, I think, a lag between what people finally do from when a problem emerges. I think there's a different question, if I may reframe it, which is why are so many other institutions, whether they be governments or companies or whatever, who are downgrading the importance of the future of our planet. People are disinvesting from green stuff. Maybe because it's becoming more ubiquitous, as you say. Maybe it's because schools are talking about it, so why should we? Maybe there's other reasons. But I think it's very important for us and for all the other schools in this area to retain that focus in order to make sure that we do inspire leaders for a better world. The final part of our MBA program is a consulting project. They are individual, so students get the opportunity to work with or to choose a company with a specified problem. And we require those problems largely to be in the area of sustainability or governance or ethics or that sort of stuff. And they are, and some of these are from major multinationals, some of them are from third sector, local organizations, so there's a huge range of opportunities for students. But they do work very closely for maybe 3-4 months with those companies. That often results in them being employed by those companies, which is a nice outcome. We can't guarantee it, of course, but it's a nice outcome. And yeah, they are, I forget what the percentage is, but probably 70% of those problems that companies give us to work on with the students are to do in some shape or form with ESG. Well, AMBER accreditations are now including that aspect, which is good. I have to read the rules because I now do some accreditations myself. So I'm very pleased to see that. I think it's really important for all the accrediting bodies, as well as all the ranking institutions, to recognize this change in zeitgeist and change in importance. It's vital. And actually the old, largely American, greed-based MBA is probably redundant, and I think it needs to be much more holistic. To use the cliche, it needs to be a much more triple bottom line in order for us all to move forwards. We are very much an in-class, on-campus program. Yes, there are elements of it which are online, and yes, there are bits and pieces, but the entire emphasis is on working with that cohort in order to get the peer-to-peer learning really, really strong, in order to get the networking and their post-degree lifelong learning going between them, as well as between them and us, and to build that strong alumni community. So for the foreseeable future, yes, there will be online products available, but our MBA, our core full-time Exeter MBA, is going to be in class and in person, and all the better for it.